All right, Nate. Second game on the slate here on Tuesday night in the playoffs. We've got Minnesota. They are headed back to Memphis with the Grizzlies, and it is tied after they did pull that win out there in Game 4, and they needed every bit of it by winning by just 1 point there. So, we're coming back home. You mentioned Ja maybe sandbagging them, 15 dimes, but only 11 points. Maybe he's coming back with a vengeance in this one. Not too much to love, I would say, in the series at this point, unless you felt so good about maybe one of these. If you feel good about Minnesota winning the series, then there's a couple of things you could take. But if you still feel like Memphis is pulling this one out, really not much left for them in terms of winning the series or even guessing the games correctly to get some juice there. So I think I'm really just focused on this game. Probably the total is where I start. I do think this series is going 7. I said that at the jump, and I'm not going to change it now at 2-2. It only seems more likely. I do like. I think it's probably a matter of the home teams winning out. And I know we're definitely looking at the game theory that we started to talk about before the last Game 4 video that we did, where we talked about Memphis preferring that slow pace for them to win, Minnesota preferring that fast pace for them to win. What do you think? I guess it's essentially, if that's the case, which one of those prevails in Game 5 is the question, right?
Well, we actually talked about that in Game 2 when we were still in Memphis. And yeah, sure enough, Memphis held them to about 84 points and smashed an under, smashed for a win. I think this one will be a lot closer after the Wolves had those hot starts in those 2 home games. Memphis came clawing back, but I'm definitely still leaning towards Memphis. I said Ja was sandbagging in terms of his post-game comments, just kind of leaning on his knee as an excuse. I'm not Ja right now, he said. I don't have my explosive, So if he's calculating enough, I don't know if he's a veteran and savvy enough to be doing that stuff, but maybe then Minnesota, it lays off him a little bit, thinking he's not going to attack the rim, and then he does. Either way, I like his prop for the 10 assists in a win at plus 150 because he did have 15 dimes, and Minnesota allows a healthy amount of dimes. But that's not saying I think this is going to be an offensive explosion. Like I said, I'm sticking to the theory that got us unders in the previous 2 games, that Memphis can limit what Minnesota does. And they've got a bit unlucky, a combination of both teams shooting 50% from 3. That's very unlucky if you had bet the under, because Memphis is not a good 3-point shooting team, and they are a good 3-point defense. And then Cat coming out to play after getting, his name dragged through the mud after 2 terrible games. Career high, playoff high, 33 points and 17 free throw attempts, really just attack from jump. Memphis will have a better plan for slowing him down. They allowed 21 free throw attempts on the season at home, and they gave up 40 in that game on the road. I don't think those free points will be there for Minnesota. Just looking at the correlation, though, in the wins for Memphis, the Wolves shot under 40%. The pace was 99. They hit 11.5 threes. In the wins, they shot 49%, 17 threes, 103 pace. So it doesn't take a rocket scientist to say, look, we slow it down. If we limit their good looks from 3, Minnesota's less comfortable playing in the half court than us, even, and that being Memphis, because they can still get their points in the paint at a little slower pace, and they can hopefully preserve Ja. But the reason I lean Memphis in a close game, I really think there's 2 scenarios here, Josh. I think they can either blow them out like they did in Game 2 if Minnesota's not hitting, or if Cat is not on the same level of intensity that he was in that bounce back effort. But if it is a close game, the last 2 fourth quarters have completely belonged to Memphis. And one of those was that huge comeback. So of course the numbers are a little bloated, but we're talking about a 62 plus net rating. We're talking about the best rebounding team in the league posting a 72% rebounding rate. So good luck getting a second chance shot. And again, with the pace, 93, slowing it down the stretch and getting us under, even if it looks like, you might be able to live bet and under 240 if it looks like they're going back and forth a lot. Memphis, was elite in the clutch at home, down the stretch, of course, a limited sample size, but a 54 defensive rating after the All-Star break in those few close games. And both these teams have struggled to take care of the ball, bottom 5 in assist to turnover ratio in the playoffs right now.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really about the pace. If it's not up there, they're not efficient enough on offense to get you to a 235 total or whatever we're talking about here. As you know, might not surprise you, but I like a teaser here. Memphis down to -2, get that under up to 236. I feel pretty good about the correlation there. But if you do like the better juice, the Memphis money line with the regular under is plus 150. I think it's worth sprinkling some on both of those, since that's the game theory we're rolling with here.
Yeah, I think we do. You got to go with it, and I do. I do like the home team to come out and win this game. But yeah, I'm still scared of a hot start for Minnesota. They just seem to come out in pretty much every game now, except for game 2. They've come out just with on a tear, essentially, right? And I think they're still going to be equally as hungry as Memphis in this one. It's 2-2. There's no edge there and anybody necessarily playing for their lives, although you could make the argument that Memphis doesn't want to go back to Minnesota down 3-2 more than, Minnesota would be scared of that, obviously playing back at home and where they play better on offense, where they need that pace to be high. Neither of these teams have been efficient on offense. Outside of Desmond Bane, nobody's been efficient on offense. 8 for 12 from 3, following is 7 for 16 or whatever it was in the game before. He's continuing to carry them, and I think to a degree maybe Ja isn't himself, but he's also has to have recognized that Desmond Bane is on another planet right now and can't miss, right? So I think what we're looking for in this one is I do want to buy into the theory. I mean, we believe it strongly that Memphis will win with slowing that pace down. I mean, it's wild that there was a 104 pace in the game. In game 4, and that last quarter was played at a pace of 92. And I think part of that is, they had to actually go. We talked about the lineup that was so good for them in game 3 that really helped them win and come back. Brandon Clark being a huge catalyst for that. He did play 28 minutes in this game 4. And really, Jaren Jackson wasn't able to play once again because of foul trouble. Not shockingly, stop me if you've heard that before. Only played 3 minutes in the fourth quarter. And you look at who was out there most of the time. Brandon Clark obviously played 10. And then you had Kyle Anderson playing 6 minutes as well. So, between those guys, sprinkle in some Tyus Jones when they went smaller than even that. But the point is even if they, the best lineup they had so far, which I was talking about, was with Jaren Jackson, Dylan Brooks, Desmond Bane, Ja, and then Brandon Clark. You also talk about take out Brandon Clark, put Kyle Anderson in there. Either way, what we're talking about is 2 guys who are going to either not shoot threes or not shoot them nearly quick enough, as Kyle Anderson takes a year and a half to load up his 3 before he can shoot it. Thusly, he doesn't get that many attempts. It's not that he's not good at making them. It's that it takes too damn long for him to get the shot off. So he and Brandon Clark, both are going to continue to not combine for too many threes, which is okay if you're trying to slow the ball down and if you trust your half court offense a bit, which they should against a Minnesota team that continues to struggle on defense in a variety of ways, giving up a ton of open shots. I think you look at why Memphis was so good from 3 in that game. There were a ton of open threes for them. It's not like they were hitting a ton of those the contested shots, but still 8 for 12 from Dylan Brooks or from Desmond Bane, 3 for 4 from Dylan Brooks, 2 for 3 from Tyus Jones. Some of that has to regress back to normal, right? And I think that's something you can expect in this one. And they won't rely on threes in this one. And the under is what I feel good about, because I do feel good about them. And I think I'm going to just go straight parlay in terms of their money line and the under in this one.
Mm-hmm. And if you agree with Josh that you think the Wolves can come out strong again, there is a first quarter winner and then match winner. So the Wolves to win the first quarter and then the Grizzlies to win the game. Plus 330. Again, yeah, Memphis is that kind of team. We've seen it in those 2 wins in games 2 and 3, that they might start slow with their offense, and then they kind of smile at the thought of coming back and sticking it to the Wolves. So I don't hate that. I don't hate the Memphis team total for the first half either, against the Wolves team that gives up 60 points per game in that first half. I'm just saying that the pace should slow down enough down the stretch that we get to the under there. And look, if you are still on the Wolves, the correlation goes the other way. And if you think they're going to win, I'm almost sure that it's going to be because this game goes over 232, and that's plus 500. So there is juice either way. You bet it. It's just you have to think about the correlations here. It's like, what's going to happen if Minnesota wins? And Minnesota's not going to win a 109-107 game, but Memphis could. That's just our opinion. I mean, it's based on heavily rooted in fact that the fact that Minnesota scores about 120 in wins and 107 in losses. So I think, we stick with that theory, and it should pay out over the course of the series.
Yeah, and it has up to this point, and I agree. It will continue. It's a fluctuating series. It's definitely the wildest one, the most all over the place. It's one where you really have to, like, what we're doing here is going, all right, well, there's 2 to 3 plausible scenarios, and then there's a couple that aren't plausible. Like you said, not plausible to us. A 110 to 105 Minnesota win doesn't seem like it's going to happen. A 105 to 101 win, not really in Minnesota's sort of wheelhouse there. But yeah, 127 to 124, straight in their wheelhouse, and that's exactly what they're looking for. So you have to realize that with Memphis. I'm not saying Steven Adams is going to get any minutes. I'm saying Slow-Mo is going to get his 25 to 30 minutes, as well as Brandon Clark. I think Triple J, while I think they like his defense, and he's obviously their best option to guard Cat, who did have another nice game because, in part at least, because Triple J couldn't be on the floor. There's still the propensity for him to shoot threes a lot more than Brandon Clark and Kyle Anderson, and be open in those 3-ball spots, which 1 for 4 for the series. I believe he's shooting like 12% from 3. Triple J. So like if no one's willing to pull him, at least there's not as many long rebound misses, which just leads to a bunch more, Minnesota long rebounds and going and pushing. So I think it all looks like under for if you do believe Memphis will control this game properly, and those role players will come to play at home as they normally do.